All right, so a little bit of news that you may or may not have heard, and that is there has been a banning in Historic. Oh yeah, that's right, people. The premier non-rotating format on MTG Arena, they're tired of Time Warp, and Time Warp is banned. This is a card I think that entered the format with the Mystical Archives. They banned a lot of cards preemptively, like Counterspell and Swords to Plowshares for some reason. Maybe they should have taken a closer look at Time Warp. So double blue, 3 generic, target player takes an extra turn after this one, and after the recent large events dominated with Time Warp, I guess a lot of people decided to pick up the deck and nothing's really being done about it. Maybe, I can't tell if Counterspell being legal would do anything against the deck or help the deck. Because, you know, it is a blue deck. It is a blue deck. But the most fascinating thing about this banning, I think that we should be taking away, is that the announcement, again, has been done by Jay Parker. Where on earth is Ian Duke? Jay is shrouded in mystery. Doesn't even have a picture of himself anywhere. So the deal is, like, so if we get a modern BNR announcement, is Ian coming back? Or is this, like, forever being... or forever are we going to get our notifications, our news from Jay Parker? That is the real question. This isn't too long to read. I can say when Strixhaven was released, we expected to see a significant changes in the historic metagame due to a host of powerful mystical archive cards. We are certainly seeing those results now. In the recent Strixhaven Championship Tournament, 5 of the top 8 of all the top 4 historic decks were Jeskai turn decks, prominently featuring Time Warp. In addition to the results of the event, our ladder play data from Historic also shows this to be an extremely powerful deck that is challenging for many other decks to disrupt and boast very few bad matchups. They should have seen the data between Merfolk and this deck. Though we often like to see how the metagame adjusts to tournament results like these, when the deck involved has play patterns that prevent the opponent from playing the game, and when our data suggests that it lacks a significant number of bad matchups, we favor acting quickly. For these reasons, Time Warp is banned in Historic. More broadly, the Strixhaven Championship Historic metagame was clearly dominated by blue-red base decks, with Izzet Phoenix, Jeskai Control also proving to be both popular and successful. Much of the discussion has centered on the power of Mystical Archive editions, most notably Brainstorm, and the addition of these cards is something we have been monitoring closely. However, with these decks, we see a different pattern than with Jeskai turns. Both decks provide more opportunity for an opposing deck to counter their strategies, and we also see multiple other top-tier decks that show strong records against one or both. Furthermore, neither deck is demonstrating win rates at the same level as Jeskai turns. Because of this, we do think a wait-and-watch strategy is best here to see how the metagame adapts to the removal of Jeskai turns. We will be monitoring closely to see how the rest of the metagame can adapt, and we are prepared to take further action soon if we do not see things moving in a positive direction. How do people feel about this news? Time Warp banned. Historic. For anyone, for the Historic fam out there, MTG Arena, basically the free way to play Magic. You can grind for free. It is possible. I mean, I deposited basically $50, but I mean, I grinded quite a bit from there. It's not really banned until they ban it again today. That's a little bit hilarious. Phoenix will be 60% in the top 8 now. Well, we'll see. Maybe sometimes what ends up happening is one deck prevents all the other decks. Like, let's say the decks that beat Phoenix had a really bad matchup versus the Time Warp decks. Then with Time Warp gone, those decks can rise up. I'm not super familiar with the metagame, so I cannot speak too much to this. But anyway, Time Warp banned in Historic. Welcome, everyone, to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. You know, get your questions fired up. Let's have a great discussion this morning. Also, we do Decklist reviews. So if you've got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, hey, submit it to us, and both myself and the community would love to give some feedback. So brew up your cups of coffee. Let's brew up some magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for June 10th, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Marip. Good morning, Voltenvosh, Walter, Andreas, James, Dan W. Xenix, Mats, Rebecca, Dr. Glass Bottle, Vilk Chamberlain, drinking coffee, just waiting for the MTG to start. Let's get the MTG started. Steve, Dan, Vala, Thomas, Benjamin, Hoax, Wukash, Steven, Hot Cold Man, Ruby, Sports, MTG Ectoplasm, Steven. Morning, and the Fish Fam. Can Brainstorm be next? Well, that's the thing. I mean, is Brainstorm is it's like an okay card. It's like an okay card without fetch lands. It's with the fetch lands that this becomes a real powerhouse. And maybe it feels crappy that it's being put into like a Phoenix deck, and that Phoenix deck wants to dig towards their combo pieces or combo enablers. Like combo, you know, it's like a pseudo combo deck, you know what I mean? But I mean, I guess it's ban worthy, I guess, but I know it's just not nearly as strong if you don't have the fetch lands. Like, it's just a really weird draw 3, put 2 cards back on top, and then you have to see those cards eventually anyway. Maybe they're sort of cheating because they can discard cards from the top of their library. That they are that sort of deck, and they're just looking for their particular enablers, so maybe that's the case. Okay, so what's going on here? James Gilberto, is Benthic Biomancer or Benny for short good synergy with Sveilun? If you had too many gods in your hand, you can pitch with Benny? No, I don't think it would be worth it. In my opinion, you can never have too many Sveiluns in hand, in my opinion. Because if they kill one, and they'll put a lot of effort into doing it, then you have a backup one. You always want the backup. 27 Noetic. Do you think the new general would be better in humans or in a Manamorphose shell? Humans. I actually think it would be better in humans. I think you're talking about... I don't remember the card. I don't remember the name. I'm gonna randomly... Nope, this is not it. Tried to randomly look it up. Didn't work. But I mean, you could play humans with Manamorphose, just so that you could get that free 4/4, though. Hoax asks, has any card in Modern gone crazy good yet? People are talking big about Urza Saga. I don't see the results yet. Like, we got 5-0s in leagues, which is useless to me. But a lot of rumblings about Urza Saga being broken, maybe slipped through the cracks in play testing. According to Sam Black, he does not remember this exact version of the card being play tested. It's possible that they made some alterations at the end and they were like, they eyeballed it. This is fine. So what decks are playing this card? Amulet. Amulet's playing this card so they can find Amulet of Vigor in their deck. And they're even playing Expeditions map so they can find this damn thing. But it's not only that. I mean, on turns where they're just dirtling around and they have mana and they have nothing to do with it, they can just start making construct tokens. Because you can just make a bunch of construct tokens, slow down the game. So strong. So, I mean, anyway, okay, so it's seeing play in Amulet. It's seeing play in Affinity. Affinity is back, people. It's basically Affinity with Thought Monitor and Urza Saga, and boom, it's making 5-0s. It's seeing play in Hammer Time. Because by turn 4, you just search up the Colossus Hammer. And boom, you win. Oh. 0 mana, find your key win condition. They're totally in for that. It's seeing play in it's seeing play in Dice Factory. It's seeing play in I'm missing one. What else is it? What else is this card seeing play in? Dredge playing with it? That doesn't make much sense to me, but it can make some sense, I guess. It is great. It will be great in Lantern Control if someone makes the Lantern Control deck work. Do you think Urza Saga would be viable in 8-rack? Possibly. Yeah, to find racks and also create creatures on the ground. Sounds great, actually. The only problem is that it adds colorless mana, so it might make your discard plan a little bit weaker. So the deal is this card is already just getting slotted into a lot of decks, but I think the saving grace to it is that the format might not have been has not properly interacted against it yet. Remember, it's an enchantment, so you can blow it up. And also, if it loses all its abilities through Spreading Seas or Tide Shaper, it also gets destroyed, or Blood Moon for that matter. Blood Moon also blows up this land. So it will lose its abilities, and then it has to sacrifice itself. Oh yeah, I think Blue Eye Control is also playing it. I forget why though. Oh, they just want the constructs for the most part. They can get some artifacts like Pithing Needle and stuff, but oh no, Brainstone. They can get Brainstone with it. But the key thing is, in competitive open events, this is not seeing that much play. But now that we've seen some of these decks, Affinity is now clearly a deck. We have to wait till this weekend to see what's gonna happen. If it's showing up in large quantities, you better believe that's the recipe for getting banned. And not to mention, you know, if they didn't playtest this card properly, that's also the recipe for cards getting banned. You know, don't print the card unless you've playtested the damn thing. Don't print it. I should look up the ruling. It has something to do with the fact that, like, it's a saga, and if a saga has, it's like a saga that loses its counters or something, and if it has 0 counters on it, like, you have to sacrifice it. I don't remember. I really don't know. Just know that if it loses its abilities, it blows up. Yeah, what's the interaction? I don't know yet. Maybe I'll do that in my own time to try to figure it out for you guys. If a saga has no counters on it, it won't be blown up. Then I don't know the ruling. Just understand it blows up. And then, like, if your opponent argues with you, just call the judge, and the judge will say, "Yeah, it blows up." It's just all that we need to know for now. So this card, seeing play in a lot of decks, a lot of hype for it. We still gotta wait to see if it's ban worthy. All right, we still gotta wait. We gotta wait for the metagame to adapt, because the metagame most definitely can adapt. I'm a little concerned about the Affinity deck, because that deck is really fast, and like even if you interacted with Urza Saga, it might be too late because they have a bunch of stuff on the board. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's that. This card is the most. Okay, hold on. So Lord Magicus has an answer. A saga that has counters on it greater than or equal to the chapters is sacrificed. When you seize it, it loses all chapters. Oh, so it loses the chapters. And therefore, if it has no chapters and has counters on it greater, it has to sacrifice. That's interesting. Then why does it sacrifice? So hold on. Immediately is 1. Immediately is 2. You mean... I don't get it, but we get to 3 chapters and then it sacrifices. A saga that has counters on it greater than or equal. Gotcha. Okay, there's the rule. Thank you. Lord Magicus knows the rules. Excellent. Now, the card I think that is rocking the boat harder, in my opinion, that no one's not really talking about, is Shardless Agent. It's had so many copies in the last 2 Modern challenges, like so many copies, and basically people are trying to use this with Crashing Footfalls. So, like, you just go turn 3, get 2 4/4 trample rhinos on the battlefield, 10 power, diversified over 3 creatures, 8 of that power is trample. Not bad for Modern, not bad, not bad. Really consistent, or they're playing Shardless Agent into Living End. Wipe your board. I get a huge board on the battlefield. But not that many people talking about the bustedness of Shardless Agent. I think this is having a this is actually overpowering the format at the moment. This is I mean, maybe no one's talking about this. People are more scared about what Urza's doing. Like, all the hype is around the Urza card, but really, this card is actually, like, you know, it's creating tsunamis here. This one's literally changing things. Well, the thing is, turn 1, it sounds good in theory, but these blue decks are playing with Brazen Borrower, so they can Petty Theft it at end of turn, and then they turn 2, Petty Theft, and then Shardless Agent on their turn. They have those tools. I mean, of course, yeah, if it uncontested. Another another thing is like some of these builds, like it's good against Living End because they need to go for a Living End, so Chalice on 0 works really well there. But it doesn't work as great against the Crashing Footfalls deck because it's just it's like a teamer mid-range deck where with Shardless Agent just getting the Crashing Footfalls. So you get a Chalice on 0, but they at least get a Shardless Agent, and they could still play all their other spells in their deck, like Bone Crusher Giant, Bloodbraid Elf, Brazen Borrower, stuff like that. So anyway, I know there's a lot of fear surrounding Urza Saga, and certainly I don't want to give those artifact decks anything. You know, you can't. Historically, artifact decks have not played fair. All right, they don't play fair. They play dirty. Those are dirty, fast, stupid decks. So, you know, we're not going to give them any benefit of the doubt. And Urza Saga for sure could take them, put them over the top. But right now, in my opinion, it's actually Shardless Agent that's having the largest impact on Modern. All right. That's right, Matsy. Shardless Agent with the most impact in the metagame. That's correct. In my opinion, from what I've seen so far. Have you talked about Urza Saga not being tested at all? Well, the final version, as far as Sam Black remembers, it wasn't tested. So they did test the original versions of Urza Saga. I don't know all the earlier iterations of Urza Saga, but Sam Black doesn't remember the last one being tested, but maybe someone else has. Will you be making a top 5 likely to be banned Modern Horizons 2 list? No, I'll be more like making a top 10 Modern Horizons 2 cards. I can't say, there's a lot of busted cards like Urza that, you know, a lot of people thought were going to get banned, and maybe you could say it's a bannable card, but, you know, it's totally fair. So, I mean, I don't want to be the judge of what actually gets banned. I also am slightly concerned I have too much influence in this domain. Like some number of people from Wizards actually, you know, listen to what the hell I say. So I don't want to say, okay, this is how we're ranking the ban list cards. Remember, no one really cared about Mox Opal until I brought it up. There was no discussion over the banning of Mox Opal until I laid down the problems. And eventually, the rest of the world woke up. And then Wizards woke up. And now Mox Opal is gone. Yes! Mox Opal is banned. F that card. Mark Oliver. Nah, Wizards of the Coast just prefer to test while in production, not during development approach. I don't really know what that means. Everyone's coming out with the Saga ruling. Urza Saga is a land, though, right? So vulnerable to land. Yeah, it's vulnerable to land destruction and enchantment destruction because it is an enchantment. Matsy asks, Imperial Recruiter good enough with Shardless Agent in the same deck in humans, or is it too much? I would think it should be good, but maybe it's just too dirtily. Like you spend your turn 3 playing a 1/1 creature, and sure, you tutor, but maybe it's better in an Aether Vial deck, but so far we don't see it. Maybe there's a teamer Imperial Recruiter. Oh, you can't have... I was thinking you need to have Aether Vial and Shardless Agent in the same deck, and maybe you can, but the problem is that it'll confine your Aether Vial, which would suck. It would just suck. This is interesting. Bastards, I was just saying in my last video recorded last night, you make videos that I was going to play Jeskai Turns. They killed it because whiny people on Reddit. Yet again, that's right. I mean, there is a problem with, like, cards get... You know, I can really sympathize with people online because, like, okay, you build a whole deck, then 4 cards get banned from it, and they give you these wild cards, but what about the rest of the deck? And it's extremely expensive because those cards are bricked. You can't dust them into gold to make other decks. You can't do stuff like that. So, like, if you paid for those cards, you just have those cards and tough shit. It's very expensive. I guess your average deck still costs around 150 bucks, though, so it's cheaper than Modern. How's Grief? Seeing no play. People try stuff once in a while, sees no play. I told you all! This card is overrated. This is very fair, but it's going... it will definitely... We're going to feel the heat of this card when people find out how to use it in a combo deck. But if you try to make some ephemerating nonsense out of this, you'll be grossly disappointed. This is not the boogeyman people thought it was. Not to mention this effect is useless against a lot of decks. Like, try to do this versus Living End. They won't care. Sure, take my cards. I don't care. No big deal. No big deal. So anyway, Grief is seeing no play. I don't know if there's a single published finish with it, or like a good one. Oh no, please don't make them ban Dryad. Well, that's the question. Do they ban Dryad or do they ban Valakut? Because Valakut actually was banned before. And I might be fine with that. It might be, but the problem is if you ban Valakut, you kill off the Titan Shift deck. And I'm sure the Titan Shift deck would come back if you ban Dryad of the Elysian Grove, because all of a sudden, all right, Amulet is no longer the best Valakut deck, and so a Titan Shift could come back as an archetype. You think Zabaz the Glimmer Wasp just goes into Mono Green Hardened Scales deck? I don't really think it's either of the. I don't really think either of its abilities are worth splashing red or white. Zabaz. But you don't need to splash, right? You don't need to splash. You can play things like Glimmer Void. There's like so many cards in Affinity that add multiple mana. Okay, like help me here, people. What are all the cards? There's Glimmer Void. Well, I'll go over the question as people start listing the cards. But you get a 1/1 modular 1, and if a modular triggered ability would put one or more +1/+1 counters on a creature you control, that many +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. So it's like a hardened scales for modular, which is not bad. It's not bad by itself, and you can find this thing with Urza's Saga. That's the point. You find this with Urza's Saga. These abilities, you can ignore them. They're not that important. But if you did need them, you have access to that. You have at least Glimmer. What is it? Glimmer Void. You have at least Glimmer Void, Spire of Industry. So you are free rolling on those abilities. So don't worry about it. You don't need to make a big hard splash towards this stuff. So sometimes there's Springleaf Drum. We're talking hardened scales, but you know, I'll throw this one up. This one's usually in the regular Affinity deck. Springleaf Drum. So you have access to mana, is what I'm saying, if you want to play your Zabaz. So it is worth it. I think this is a great upgrade to the Hardened Scales deck, and just something very easy to dig for with Urza's Saga, and help give turn 4 kills. Is Affinity coming back then? So far it looks like it. Affinity won a Legacy challenge, and people are 5-0ing with a bunch of Affinity lists. This weekend will be the test to see if Classic Affinity is back. Yeah, you ain't got to splash. We don't need to splash for these abilities aren't that important. Like gains flying until end of turn. I promise you, most of the times when you get Zabaz on the battlefield, you're going to sacrifice it to make your Arcbound Ravager bigger for the most part. You know, you don't need this thing. It's not that important. Great question, though. Great question. Grief is so much better normally cast than evoked. I don't really agree with that either. Because by the time you cast it on turn 4, I mean, your opponent won't have many cards in hand. I mean, they might have the best cards in hand at that point, but it's either going to be the best cards or no cards. I think the evoked part of Grief is fine. It's just that it should be in a combo deck that's trying to protect its combo, and it can do it for free. And anyway, that's the way I look at the Grief. How Merfolk can win mono-red and blue-red matchups? We don't. We hope other people do it. Urza Saga broke Frogmite tier 0. It did it. Voidwalker seeing play. People are trying, but it's not succeeding. We'll just say that right now. But you know, the verdict's not out yet. We gotta wait. You know, we can be judgmental about what's working, what's not working after 3 weeks. I mean, like, where's Thrasta? Where's my boy? Like, is this just actually unplayable? So, word on the street is that the SCG players play tested this card and got it out consistently on turn 2 and cracked for 7 easily. I don't know if they won the game, but word on the street is they did make this card work. But, like, no one's play testing it online for one reason or another. So anyway, there's a lot of time to wait to see what is going to work, what isn't going to work. So if your favorite pet card out of Modern Horizons 2 hasn't seen play yet, don't worry. There's a lot of play testing still going on. Alexis asks, if a card is banned, is it a good idea to buy it with wild cards on MTG Arena before it gets removed? They usually give wild cards back. I think it just happens instantaneously. Like, the moment the notice goes out, probably you get... Like, what's the point of buying it with the wild cards? I think that would be a mistake, because if you do it too late, you end up buying it when it's banned. So anyway, they only give it back to you if you had it before it got banned. I don't understand the strategy, because you're just going to get the same wild card that you bought it for. Or is it that... I don't know how you wanted to do it. Because if you buy it with wild cards, you're just going to get the wild cards back. So don't risk buying it after they've already given the wild cards back, because then you might have bought it after it was officially banned. Is Glimpse of Tomorrow just bad, or would it be busted in the right build? Glimpse of Tomorrow? People are playtesting this, so that we wait and see, you know? Shuffle all permanents you own into your library, then reveal that many cards from the top of your library. Put all non-aura permanent cards revealed this way onto the battlefield, then do the same with aura cards, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. People are trying to cascade into this. I think it looks bad, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I just hate these sort of super random decks. Do you think Wizards of the Coast needs to print more control cards now? Yeah, absolute bait post. Well, I mean, to be a little bit serious, the control decks were suffering after they banned Uro. Or no, it wasn't after it's after when Strixhaven came out, like, control was doing very poorly. Very, very poorly. Not enough people were playing control. The only people winning was like Aspiring Spike. What is the community consensus on how to handle Urza's Saga as a control player? I have been using Fragmatize. I think that's fine. Another way to do it is just you play your own Urza's Saga. That's one way of doing it. I imagine you could also use Field of Ruin. Field of Ruin is something you can naturally play. Dr. Glassbottle asks, is Affinity coming back then? I think in some way it's already back. But I don't know how competitive it is. Yeah, why is Affinity only good with busted enablers? That's right. Because that's the only way. That's the only way those dirty artifact decks can win. Dirty artifact decks. They're so dirty. Rusted, dirty nonsense. Is Ragavan or Voidwalker seeing play? So I am not seeing much in Voidwalker. I'm seeing a lot of interest to play Ragavan. A lot of people want to build decks around Ragavan, but the problem is the cards are so damn expensive, and they don't have the card of, like, if they borrow the card for a little while, they have to give it back. The availability is very, very low. So we have that's another thing. We got to wait a few weeks for enough cards to enter the economy that people can play test these cards properly. But a lot of people want to play with Ragavan, but they can't. So that card is just being suppressed based on availability. Have you seen Modern Twiddlestorm? I have. I've not seen it recently, though. What kind of artifact hate could you run in Mono Blue? Oh, man. Mono Blue has very bad artifact hate. We've got, what, Hurkyl's Recall? If you're talking about, like, anti-affinity hate, I think this is the best one. It's Hurkyl's Recall, and it sucks. Return all artifacts target player owns to his owner's hand. They'll just re-spew all their stuff back. Doesn't matter. And even worse now, when they replay their Thought Monitor, I knew this card was good. I was terrified when they printed this. I'm like, this absolutely can give a lot of power to Affinity. Draw 2 cards and have a flying body at the same time. So anyway, now if I bounce this damn thing with Hurkyl's Recall, they're going to get more cards. The other next best one might be... What is the 1 blue counter target colorless spell? I think Raven's Call... Raven's... it's a Raven's Call? No, it's Raven something. No. There's a Raven on the picture. Raven form. But this is too slow. This is way, way, way too slow. It's a 3-mana sorcery turning an artifact into a 1/1 token. Ceremonious Rejection. That's not bad. It's a little clunky. Ceremonious. Oh, it's Ceremonial Rejection. No, it's Ceremonious. Whatever. I don't know. I spelled it wrong. It's an instant counter target colorless spell. It's 1 blue. Sometimes it feels clunky because it's like holding up that 1 blue against a deck that's just spewing stuff out like crazy is very awkward and annoying. But anyway, Ceremonious Rejection is for you. Swan Song does not hit artifacts, if I am not mistaken. Just enchantments, instants, and sorceries. Yeah, counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell, and they get a little birdie. So Ceremonious Rejection is the card. Anyway, that's the best artifact hate cards for mono blue. It sucks. It's not great. It's not lovely. Is there a Sega spell? No, it's a land. You can't counter it. Chris Ross says, I tried to make Gruul Prowess with Thrasta and Hex Drinker. The test hands were terrible. Well, Hex Drinker might be like iffy. You need cards that lets you spew everything out. Just unban Uro again. Space Marine is totally on board with that. What about Sanctum Prelate? No place in Death and Taxes? You know what? You know what sucks about Sanctum Prelate? Well, maybe it doesn't suck because you can prevent it. I guess what ends up needing to happen is like Death and Taxes needs to be well positioned, and maybe it's just not well positioned right now. Choose a number. Non-creature spells of the chosen mana cost equal to the chosen number can't be cast. Like, this card's okay, but in Modern, we play at all... We play at every mana cost. We play even at 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Sanctum Prelate may not have as much power as people anticipate. It's like it's a good card in the right matchups. But for the most part, Sanctum Prelate by itself is not going to like put Death and Taxes way over the top. You know what I mean? You can craft it before the banning to basically get a free card for other formats like Historic, Brawl, or maybe future formats waiting to be added. But you have the wild cards. I don't get it. Okay, so you have wild cards. Then you craft the Time Warp. And then you get the wild cards back. Oh, what kind of wild cards are these? Are these like any wild cards? Like Mythic? I thought you just get the equivalent. Like, I'm not really getting this. Doesn't make sense to me. You're using wild cards to craft a card so you can get wild cards, but you had wild cards in the first place. I'm missing something. Oh, Titan Mayhem with the super chat. Do you think 8-rack is viable? Not necessarily, especially in... Here's the problem with 8-rack right now. And that is Living End is probably one of the best decks in the format at the moment. They're not really well positioned, and so long as Living End is as long as there's a big graveyard deck in the format, they're going to get their ass kicked pretty hard. So you're going to discard, and they're just going to discard their creatures. Then they cast a Cascade spell, they Living End, they get all their creatures back, and didn't even do anything. So that's a problem for 8-rack, but 8-rack probably did get a new tool in the toolbox with Urza Saga. I'm curious to know if someone will try to make Lantern Control work again, now that they've got Urza Saga. Anyway, thank you very much, Titan Mayhem, for the super chat. I don't get for like super chats at like $2, I get like I don't know, it's highlighted in my chat. I just don't get a notification, but you know, I do scroll down and find it. Okay, where am I here? Just gonna have to jump somewhere random. Did you see Power Depot for Modern Horizons 2? What do you think for new hardened scales? Definitely a lot of... Oh, yeah. I didn't think that this would see play. I mean, there was always a chance, but... All right. Lands entering the battlefield tapped. Good enough. And you can add, you know, and it's like a City of Brass, basically. I think it's fine. If they think it works, then it works. But Willie asked, will Jund have a good place in Modern, or should I do... Or should I do for hardened scales, or is it still too early? I mean, if you want to be safe, going Jund Death Shadow is fine. And Jund is... How about this? Jund is always fine. Jund has always been around. It's always been at least 1% of the metagame or higher. Hardened scales... The thing about Affinity, though, is that if they are being propped up solely by Urza's Saga, and that card gets banned, then your deck might not work anymore after the card is banned. I don't think that will be true. I think they got a lot of new tools, but you will be absolutely safer with Jund, and Hardened Scales Affinity might be hanging on by a very specific card, just like how they did with Mox Opal. That just proves how much those Affinity decks, they were just... It was not... The deck didn't matter for the most part. It was all hinging on Mox Opals, particularly the regular Affinity deck. That Affinity deck sucks. It's garbage. It's just a pile of nonsense. The only reason it won was because you were a turn ahead than everyone else, because you got to play with a Mox. Actually, I'm sorry. I take it back. Karn the Great Creator killed that deck. I take it back. I take everything back. It actually got crushed when Karn the Great Creator got printed. Oh, Resculpt as a artifact hate card? That card's fine, but, like, it's awkward. That's the card that puts 4/4s in play, right? I don't mind this for... I tried this a little bit in Merfolk, but I never actually got to play it. I put it in the sideboard. Oh, it's funny. Well, Wilk, because... So you're going Unban Twin. Sam Black. Now, Sam Black... The person who recognized Mox Opal was a problem in Modern, recognized immediately companions were broken, should not have been printed, recognized immediately that Oko Thief of Crowns was the most powerful planeswalker of all time, and stuck to his word despite all his peers saying that it was garbage. He thinks we can unban Twin. He thinks we can unban Twin. Sam Black says every color has tools now. I'm looking for it. There it is. Also, for the first time, I now have no problem with the idea of unbanning Twin. That's big. That's heavyweight. Now, I mean, there's no one's word carries more weight than Sam Black's. No one. I mean, the guy has the track record of nobody else. Literally every color can disrupt Twin while tapped out, says Sam Black. It's a big subject here. I have a feeling R&D had no intention of even looking at the ban list at all, whatsoever. And now Sam Black comes out and says, you know what? Maybe we can unban Twin. Maybe we can actually do that. I don't know. I don't know how if I can, like, get behind this. Remember, playing against Twin is absolutely miserable, and, like, even the idea of playing Force of Negation against a Splinter Twin does not sit well with me, because, okay, they might tap out that turn, but still, I 2-for-1 myself, and they could still combo off the next turn. It makes Sam Black Mark Rosewater. Sam Black has earned that his opinion is king. He did it, and the team did a great job in Modern Horizons 2. Yeah, he powered down the format he powered down that set big time, and it's still pretty good. It's a really enjoyable set. So, anyway, wonder what everyone thinks about this. I should make a dedicated video about this. That's big. It's like a lot of people will say, unban Twin, Twin did nothing wrong. I think it's okay to unban Twin. But when Sam Black, who is really like the greatest police of the modern format, it's got the he's got his fingers on the pulse like no one else. Says we could probably unban Twin now. I mean, that's got to get the Twin players really excited. Yeah, I still think Pod would never get off that list. That would be fantastic. Getting an interview with Sam Black asking about all those cards, the cards on the ban list. Why do we keep them banned? In my opinion, it's because you can instantly combo off with Pod. That's the miserable part with Pod. What in Modern Horizons 2, what would you ban? I would ban nothing right now. I'd ban nothing. I was rooting for you against Sam Black at the GP. Yeah, I once played against Sam Black in the top 8 of the GP. For anyone that doesn't know that I'm a top 8 GP finalist. Is Elvish Reclaimer worth buying online, or is it too narrow and only used in 2 decks? Are you going to use it or not? I mean, if you're going to play with it, play with it. If you're not going to play with it, don't buy it. Same with that. Okay, so I guess it is time. And you know what time it is, people. You know what time it is. It's Decklist review time. This is where you get to submit your deck list and we get to look at them and we gotta have fun. We're gonna have fun. Should I just wait for Dothy Voidwalker to drop in price then pre-order given that the hype has died down? Absolutely. I would say, I mean, if there's a card that's not really seeing a whole lot of play right now, just wait for the price to drop. And then that card can go back up in price when people discover how good it is. I mean, let's go to MTG Stocks for a second. There are some good cards. Well, maybe okay. Before we talk about some Modern Horizons 2 stocks, if you want to submit your deck list to Decklist review, go into my description. In my description, there is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. There is a channel called Decklist Review, and then there use the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list, and you'll be eligible at random to be chosen for Decklist review. So here's the deal: there was a card. Super overhyped, maybe not overhyped, maybe accurately hyped at the release of Modern Horizons 1, and that was Archmage's Charm. Does everyone remember how everyone knew it was going to be awesome? And it was, I think it pre-sold for even higher than this, or maybe I'm just thinking of it in Canadian dollars. But anyway, started at 24 bucks basically, and saw no play whatsoever. But probably because of Hogak. But it saw no play whatsoever and just crashed to nothing. Then at $1, I bought them up because, hey, I know this card is good. This card is triple blue, counter spells, gains control of non-land permanents with converted mana cost 1 or less. I'm in. This card is amazing. I actually don't like the draw 2 cards part of this for a Merfolk deck, but I know for control decks they like that part. So I bought them at $1.50. So Nikachu cashed in big time. And then over time, people realize, hey, this card is good. And probably it could be played around here. This whole entire era of it being $1, people just forgot about this card. It was previewed and it's like, hey, this is awesome. This is exactly what Control wants. Oh shit, Control decks suck right now. And then at some point, well, whatever. It didn't catch on. Then eventually people were like, hey, this is good. This is a really good card. And then people start buying it up. And now it's still going up. Well, we're back up to $12. This is still underrated probably as a control card. It's incredibly, incredibly good. Very, very strong. So my point is, yeah, if a card is not seeing any play right now, let it crash and then buy at the bottom. Buy when it hits the floor. It just sucks for anyone who wants to buy something like Svialoon. Because this card is not gonna, it may not crash. I can see it going down, but it's not gonna hit floor immediately because we all know it's good. Every Merfolk player is going to buy it. And also, who knows how many Commander players are going to buy this? Like, every single Merfolk Commander player has to get this card. How can we get Sound Black on Coffee and MTG? I guess I have to ask him. How's the new Merfolk list matchup on Death and Taxes? Probably really good because Tideshaper is a great way of getting Island Walk without it getting super blown out by like Flicker Wisp and Ghost Quarter, because I at least have a creature on the battlefield no matter what. What price would I buy Fetch Lands at? I'd probably buy it at any dip. Well, let's look at what is it, Scalding Tarn? I mean, if it goes down, get it. Not financial advice, but I mean, I'd probably just buy it here. Where was that at the top? It probably can go down a little bit more. But I mean, at 65 bucks, I would get it. Which means that, like, you probably could have got it a long time ago and guaranteed it anyway. They'll probably come down a little bit more, but they can't come down that too much because it's still fetch lands. Fetch lands are fetch lands. Everyone wants fetch lands. Okay. Box EV is about 50% more than the price of the box. Prices will come down. Yes. People want to crack them boxes. You're welcome. You're welcome, Daniel. All right, let's go check out some deck lists. I did my deck on Cockatrice. Can I send it? It's a budget. Is it? You can send anything, but you got to submit it. You have to submit it on a deck list site that I can view it. If it's not viewable, I'm not reviewing it. Like, put it on Goldfish, Scryfall, anything. I don't care. All right, let's go. Let's do this. Okay, Juan LMM, congratulations. You are the next contestant on Decklist Review. So what do we got here? Simic Snakes Control. Snakes on a plane, you're telling me here. So we got Stonecoil Serpent, Snake, Hex Drinker, Snake, Coiling Oracle, Snake, Ice Banquaddle, also Snake, Mystic Snake, and Sashiro the Anointed. What does this one do? Other snakes you can... Oh, what a lord. Other snakes you control gets +2/+2. Whenever a snake you control deals combat damage to a player, you can draw a card. That is really strong. The problem is getting this out for 6 mana. We have Mystic Snake, Ice Banquaddle, X Drinker. Okay. We're playing with Opt, apparently Familiar's Ruse. I don't know if I want to play... Okay, you can... Familiar's Rusing this is not too bad, so you play it out early, but later you can, like, upgrade it. I'm not a huge fan of Familiar's Ruse. I honestly think it should just be Counterspell. So if people don't know what this is, it's a Counterspell, but as an additional cost to cast, you have to return a creature you control to your hand. This almost always is clunky. Like, no one's made this work. Like, in theory, this would be good in a control deck because you can bring your Snapcaster Mage back to your hand, but it's just too clunky. There's going to be games where you don't even have creatures on the battlefield, so you can't even use it. Like, if you have an empty board and you have an option between, and you like, if you have an empty board and you have Counterspell in your hand with 2 mana up, you'd have the option of countering something like early on in the game, but with this deck you can't. So I would I know what you're trying to do. It's too cute though. It just doesn't work in practice. So I would play just play Counterspell over Familiar's Ruse. What is this? So Suke's Summons. Put 2 1/1 green snake creature tokens into play. Whenever a non-token snake comes into play under your control, you may return Sosuke Summons from your graveyard to your hand. Now that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. That's like constant lingering souls. I like this one. That's a good card. That is a good one. Animal Sanctuary. You have 23 lands. You do draw cards, though, with Coiling Oracle. I'm just trying to figure out how you get to the 6 mana. I think you can do it. You should probably go down one of these. But I guess you're maxed out on cards. You have Animal Sanctuary. Put a +1... Oh, this counter on snakes. Put a +1/+1 counter on target. Bird, cat, dog, goat, ox, or snake. Hilarious. Breeding Pool, Cavern of Souls. Misty, you probably should have 4 of these. Misty Rainforest. You should definitely have 4 of these. Waterlog Grove is fine. Ceremonious Rejection, Grafdigger's Cage, Ether Gust, Damping Sphere, Negate, Return to Nature, Mystical Dispute, Prowling Ceropod. Can't be countered. Creature spells you control can't be countered. That's fine. And Shisatu, Whispering Hunter. I don't know the other snakes in the... let's take a... So first off, I think overall you could keep the deck as is. Just replace Familiar's Ruse with just Counterspell. You're just working too hard for this card. Is there a cheaper Snake Lord? Well, that's what I'm going to look up right now. Let's go look up snakes. The mother effing snakes on this mother effing plane. Okay, we want to look up creature, snake. And I guess they have to be blue and green. At most these colors. Say it's less than 5. I don't want to look up too many snakes more than that. Modern. Okay, that's good enough. They might just bring up everything that we just saw. Ambush Viper, Flash, Death Touch, Anaconda, Blight Mamba. That's Infect, but that's not relevant to you. Hooded Hydra. Enters the battlefield with X/1/1 counters on it. When Hooded Hydra dies, create 1/1 green snake creature tokens for each +1/+1 counter on it. Also has Morph. Its turn face up, put 5 counters on it. Might be a little too fancy. Ice Fang, you got Death Touch. Legendary snakes you control can't be the target of spells or abilities. Whenever Kashi Tribe Elder deals combat damage to a creature, tap that creature, and it doesn't untap during its control's untap step. You know what just came across my mind? Maybe this thing should have Secure Tribe Elder. It's got to be a snake, right? Secure Tribe Elder probably fits this deck. It looks puny, but the thing is, you can like ramp into your Mystic Snake. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of your library. If it's land card, put on the battlefield. So this also can ramp. Maybe this is better than Secure Tribe Elder. Like, I like these other snakes, so I don't want to change anything. I'm not in love with the Stone Coil Serpent, so maybe this should be Secure Tribe Elder. Because getting to 4 mana for Mystic Snake and then ramping into Sashiro the Anointed seems good to me. Cassetto is a Snake Lord? So many snakes. Winged Quaddle? What is this? Flash, Flying, Death Touch? Meh. Looking for this card. Or is it in another color? Cassetto? Can't be too many Cassettos out there. Not modern legal. This is a commander card. This would be great, but it's not modern legal. Yeah, it's only in commander. You don't have many things to do on turn. No, you do have some things to do on turn 1. Maybe instead of opt, you should have that Secure Tribe Elder. I think ramping is very important for your Stone Coil Serpent and for your Seshiro the Anointed and Mystic Snake. Like something to do with your mana. And I bet is there some land that we could use that could also use mana? And also this thing is pretty mana hungry too. So you play like Secure Tribe Elder. So maybe instead of opt, I'd prefer you opt to play Secure Tribe Secure Tribe Elder. This one. I think it's more important. I could be wrong, but like I don't know what you need to really opt for in this deck. I don't think it's that important. And in my opinion, this should be replaced with Counterspell, but if you have more mana available, see how this works. In my opinion, it should be Counterspell. Lots of lands, so Growth Spiral. Well, the idea is let's see if we can have like Growth Spirals in the form of our creatures. Or is Growth Spiral better than Secure Tribe Elder? Maybe. Anyway, these are my suggestions. Anyone else have thoughts? Thoughts on Time War ban? We just talked about it. You can check it out the replay. I think it's a bad ban that shuts down too many jank decks without really Jeskai. Maybe. Metallic Mimic always worked out to be a very clunky lord because you need it out first, and then everything else afterwards gets buffed up. The new Elf Snake? I don't know what the new one is. There's a lot of snakes out here, though. I have fond memories of River Boa. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player adds green, green, green. This mana doesn't cause mana burn. It doesn't cause mana burn. Now, that is something I haven't seen in a long time. And it still doesn't. Holy crap! Shisatu, Whispering Hunter. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a snake. When it deals combat damage to a player, that player skips their untap step. That's pretty powerful. I wonder, is there like a snake deck out there that hasn't been discovered? Anyway, I don't know what else to say about this. A lot of neat stuff. Wasteland Viper seems like a pretty reasonable card. Is there like a blue-green shapeshifter that would work in this deck? Well, there's a blue-green legendary. Well, we were looking at Cassetto, but this is only good for Commander. Maybe they should have printed this in Modern Horizons. Help out them snake players. Oh, Smuggler's Copter is not a bad idea at all. Like, it's pretty good when you have like these random dinky stuff, like a lot of dinky creatures like Coiling Oracle. It's actually not a bad idea. What to take out, I'm not sure. Maybe some number of ops should be Smuggler's Copter. It's a good idea. Oh, Changeling Colossus? Yeah, that's possible. Oh, the Cryptozoologist? The Crypto. They just had to call it Crypto. Okay, what does this card do? Why did it not show? Did it show up in my search? Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. Sacrifice X clues. Target opponent reveals top X cards of their library. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. I think it's a bit of a dirtly card, but you definitely could play this. You could try this out, see what happens. And I think there's, with the 23 creatures, and if you add this one, you have enough creatures. Oh, whenever another non-token, so it's not going to have synergy with the Sosuke's summons, but it'll be fine. Okay, we got to move on. I hope that was some good feedback. Enjoy your snake deck. Ruckux. Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Decklist review. And you have sent us the abomination deckstats.net. Deckstats.net, hands down, worst site to view anything on, not just for Decklist review, but for any reason, anywhere, anytime. I'm not banning the site for Decklist review. I'm just shaming it, though. I will shame it to no end. Look at this. What fucking garbage is this? Anyway. So what is this? Freeing the Sanctum. We have a description. This deck seeks to play Sanctum Weaver with Freed from the Real to create infinite mana by turn 3. So this thing add X mana of any one color where X is the number of enchantments you control. Then Freed from the Real, enchant creature, tap enchanted creature. So you have 2 enchantments out. You've enchanted the creature. You can untap it. You have infinite mana. Have you heard of, what's it called? Devoted Druid and Vizier of Remedies? To create infinite mana by turn 3, Blue Sun Zenith draws our deck to find Walking Ballista and win on the spot. Sideboard is a generic sideboard. Please update to your meta. Okay, I get what you're trying to do. It's just really hard. So you're like playing Devoted Devastation the hard way on hard mode, basically. Oh shit, did we like give out the sponsors? Okay, Fusion Gaming Online. Don't forget 5% off with coupon code Nikachu. Mana Traders, coupon code Nikachu, 15% off. Rent any deck anytime you want. Blah blah blah. We have sponsors. You gotta throw in them sponsored. Yeah, I'm definitely not sponsored by deckstats.net. That's for fucking sure. Deck stats, great for checking odds and splits for draws. Well, they're good for something, I guess. Yeah, why don't we could Blue Sun Zenith the opponent instead of drawing our deck for... Okay, if we have infinite mana, there's like no point in this Walking Ballista. I mean, I guess you have it if you have Walking... You only need one Walking Ballista, I guess, in your deck then? It's the ultimate win war. I'm gonna Blue Sun Zenith myself. I'm gonna have everything. I'm gonna have all the cards, all the mana, and all the victory. Okay, so let's look at the list. I understand the idea. Freed from the real. Pay a blue, tap enchanted creature, untap enchanted creature. Blue Sun Zenith, counterspell. That's fine. You know what? Counterspell probably isn't for this deck. You should be playing like Pact of Negation, because ideally, the turn that you're gonna win, you just want to protect it for free. So this actually probably should be Pact of Negation. I have a feeling you are not trying to win any games fairly. You are not trying to... What the hell is with Sanctum Seeker? Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life? Why? This has got to be a mistake. This has to be something else. There's no business in this deck. Haze of Pollen is awful. Let's just play something else. Let's play... So instead of... Well, I mean, okay, maybe you can hold on Counterspell, and this could be Pact of Negation. This could be Pact of Negation. With the purpose of, like when you combo off, you just want to combo off for as little mana as possible. Pact of the Sanctum Weaver, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Oh, it also uses... Oh, it uses Idyllic Tutor. Search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it. Because that's the problem. It's hard to find both. Idyllic Tutor at least looks for Freed from the Real. And... Oh, I see. The Sanctum Seeker is supposed to be the other one. Sanctum Weaver. I get it. So this is just taking... It's like a proxy. So maybe they're using Idyllic Tutor instead. Because Summoner's Pact can't find Freed from the Real. So if you're going to have a card that's going to find your combo pieces, might as well be like this. I like that. I think that's all I would change. You can play, and then for sure you should have 4 Veil of Summer in the sideboard. Giant player can't cast more than 1 spell each turn. There's better cards than this, right? There's like Rule of Law cards for 3 mana that you should play. Ghost Quarter, I have no idea what that's in your sideboard. What is the point of this? Rest in Peace, that's fine. Solitary Confinement, that can be fine. Wrath of God seems unnecessary. Sterling Grove. Looks bad. Other enchantments. You control can't be the target of spells or ability. Sacrifice Grove. Search your library for an enchantment card. Reveal that card. Shuffle your library. Put a card on top. Isn't that better than Idyllic Tutor? I think that's better. I think you should have 4 of these, and it protects your board. You should have 4 Sterling Grove in the main deck. This is just better. Okay, yeah, it puts on top, but that's fine because I mean, you're gonna probably tap out with this card immediately. What is the music? It's called Splatoon 2. That's all I can say. So I actually think Sterling Grove should be in the main deck, and if it's out, it will protect your Sanctum Weaver from getting targeted and interacted with. Oh, hold on. No, maybe this is a problem. All other enchantments you control can't be the target. Oh, so that's a... Well, okay, so you got to sacrifice this before you actually combo off. That's awkward. So maybe this doesn't work the way I want it to. Yeah, so Sterling Grove gives Weaver Shroud, so you won't be able to enchant it. Or, well, I mean, at the very least, you protect your board until you do it. I still think this is better. Like, it's more mana efficient. Because if they kill your bird or something on turn 1, I mean, I guess this is better if you're not getting interacted with. Idyllic Tutor is better. How does this work? Turn 1, play this. Turn 2, Idyllic Tutor. Turn 3, play your Sanctum creature. I guess that's it. This sideboard needs help, though. You need 4, like, you're playing green, so play 4 Veil of Summer to protect yourself from discarding counter spells from your opponent. Haze of Pollen won't do anything. This is just a bit too weak. Opt is okay, I guess. It's okay. I guess it's okay. This might be Calamari Incarnation from Splatoon 2. Definitely a Splatoon song. It is a Splatoon song. I'm not familiar with the game. It's just on the playlist. Go down Haze of Pollen for Leyline of Abundance / Sanctity. That's an interesting one. Leyline of Abundance. But you know what? This is not that necessary, because if we combo off, we just still combo off anyway. Although, if we have infinite mana, I guess we just win with the creature in play, because we just put infinite counters on it, but we still also need to have a free way to attack. Maybe Sanctity is worth it, though. Arbor Elf plus Utopia Sprawl package? You know what? I don't mind that, actually. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that at all. So yeah, we could scrap the Noble Hierarch and the Birds of Paradise. Like, we're not winning with Exalted here. That's that's like not necessary. So we could go down that route. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. Especially since, like, again, like what's it called? Lava Dart has not disappeared. It's still around. People love shoving Opt into their blue decks like it doesn't have a deck building cost. If you don't care about casting many instant sorcery, you're better off putting a card you want. I actually agree with that. So, I mean, if there was a better card that we can replace Opt with, I'm all for it. I mean, still, it is a combo deck. So digging for your combo pieces is not ridiculous. Isn't Serum Vision strictly better than Opt in this deck? Probably. Because it does dig deeper than Opt does. You look at 2 cards and you can put them both on the bottom. I don't know. Well, this deck plays Counterspell, so maybe it wants to play at instant speed. I was worried about Blitz, which is why I have Curse, Haze, and Wrath. Look, you gotta have... These are not answers to those things. A better answer... You know what would be an okay answer? Maybe, what's it called? A really good answer to Blitz probably is... what is Ghostly Prison? Like... Maybe this should just be in the main deck instead of Opt. It will slow the opponent down by a lot. Like, any deck with creatures have to pay 2, so they can't pump up their creatures with their spells and attack at the same time. So maybe instead of Opt, play like Ghostly Prison. This actually looks like a really good Ghostly Prison deck, because you can play it on turn 2, and then the opponent can't do shit for a little while. Well, I think Pact of Negation is better than Haze of Pollen, and Counterspell in the deck as well. That's fine. When you get to enough mana, you can, like, play both. Anyway, that's my suggestion. It was a very interesting deck to look at. It's basically Viz your combo the hard way. So that is going to be Coffee and MTG for today. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating. If you want to see the replays, go check them out at Nikachu MTG Streams, my alternate YouTube channel. If you'd love to support, also, if I didn't get your comments, questions, or deck list, hey, we do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. If you'd love to support the channel and you don't already, hey, you can do it at twitch.tv, leaving a sub. / Nikachu MTG. You could also become a patron at patreon.com, or you can hit the join button on YouTube. So thank you very much, everyone, for showing up today. We had a lot of fun. Some good discussion today. A lot of we're going to see all the impact of Modern Horizons 2 over the next 2 weeks. So there's going to be a lot to talk about. You don't want to miss Coffee and MTG. So keep brewing up those coffees, and we'll keep brewing up magic. I'll see you all guys next time.